football fans, welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and today it's a twosome today. Me and Dave Oster running the shop here for the Onside Kick.
Yeah, Mark a no-show again. This time, no date, though.
No date. Mark had a little jobby job to do wearing a mascot costume. He's a gorilla this weekend.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, I always wondered... okay, so you got the upside of you look like a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Downside of it's probably 1,000,000 degrees in that suit. How much would it take to be paid to wear that gorilla suit for you?
Well, for me, it'd have to be at least like... If I'm looking at it this way, I got to get paid more than an NFL cheerleader.
Ooh.
But
topical.
The way Mark said, they're only paying minimum wage for this.
Yeah,
suit.
I'd pass. I would walk on that one.
Minimum wage to wear the gorilla suit.
Not a chance.
But today on the cast, we've got training camps in the NFL. I was going to say starting this week, but
they've already kicked off.
Two of them have kicked off, and both of them are in the AFC East since the Bills kicked off on Friday. The Dolphins kicked off today, and I know one thing I was thinking of is if you're the Dolphins, you kick off on a Sunday. Do you come in day one and say, simulated game right from the start?
Well, it's
a Sunday.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday, Dave.
That seems pretty rough, though. I mean, you go into the start of your training camp, and you're like, all right, you gotta remember the playbook?
How much do you remember?
Not much. I'll be honest.
The rookies come in, it's like, how much did you study?
That'd be rough. You put them right on the spot for that? That's terrible.
Well, I mean, we had some of the similar stuff. I know you were in swimming.
Yep.
Mine a lot different than football, being in marching band. But the first day, always conditioning.
Just straight conditioning?
It's how much did you keep yourself in, well, for marching band, semi-shape to where you're not ready to throw up after like 3 hours?
3 hours of marching?
Straight basics? Oh, the worst.
It doesn't sound happy. No, for me, it was more like... How it is, again, how well did you stay in shape? You know, we'll give you a set, and if you do it, great, you can go home early. If anybody failed it, guess what? We're having a ridiculously horrible practice for the rest of the night. And yeah, that never went well. Never went well.
Because it's your fault that you should have kept your team in shape.
You're right. You're right. It's all on me that my fat-ass team, who decided to pick up smoking this offseason, that goes real well.
But we've got tons of training camps kicking off tomorrow. We have the Dallas Cowboys, I think it is. No, the New York Giants. They kick off tomorrow on Monday, and then the Cowboys are on Tuesday. But the one training camp that I want to start with, probably the one that has the biggest spotlight, they kick off on the 23rd. You have the San Francisco 49ers. Reason why I bring them up, Dave, is they have a tight end who's not going to be in attendance. He's already said, I'm not happy with my contract. I'm not showing up. That's Vernon Davis.
Yeah, that is a bold move. I'm sorry. He's still not due for that new contract yet. It's not his year. I don't understand why now he's picking his time to fight. And apparently each day he misses could result in a $30,000 fine. That's ridiculous.
See, and the other thing, I don't get it. Like you said, it's not his contract year. Next year's his contract year. But you're on a team that's, like, in the NFC, I would say the top two teams that most... If you ask casual football fans who's going to win the Super Bowl, I would have to say 40% of them would say the 49ers.
60% would say the Seahawks, probably. Yeah. I was going to say, it's that division is ridiculous. So as going into the season with a number 2 team that's made a lot of key improvements this offseason.
Colin Kaepernick gets a new contract. He's ready to go.
Yep. They added some offensive weapons like Stevie Johnson for him.
Brandon Lloyd.
I'm a bit surprised, yeah. I mean, it's not like they have a backup plan for Vernon Davis. I mean, he's not. He's a top tight end in the league. There's nobody on their team who can physically do what he does out on the football field. So he comes from a position of power, but I don't know why he's trying to push this now instead of waiting for next season.
Well, the only thing I can think of is the Jimmy Graham saga. I mean, that had just recently come to an end where Graham gets a 4-year deal, $40 million. And he's going to make, obviously, that's $10 million a year, gets a signing bonus of $12 million. And you compare that to Vernon Davis, who this year, he's going to make a base salary of $4.7 million and then $4.35 million next year before his contract's up.
Yeah, so maybe he feels like he needs a little of. But come on, if you come out of this and say the 49ers do win a Super Bowl, he's going to be, you could get a huge payday.
Are you going to get paid more than Jimmy Graham?
I don't think he would. Because performance-wise, he's not equal to Jimmy Graham. his numbers won't look similar because of their quarterbacks and their offensive systems. When Jimmy Graham right now is like a number 1 target in the end zone in the NFL.
Well, I thought about this last night, and the big thing that I think with Vernon Davis and Jimmy Graham, why I think Graham should be paid more, Vernon Davis isn't going to be in attendance. Who's Crabtree's number 1 weapon? Or Kaepernick's number 1? I said the answer.
Is it? Hang on. Let me take a wild guess. Is it Michael Crabtree?
It's Michael Crabtree.
What?
Who's a great number 1 receiver. Now, if you take Jimmy Graham off the Saints, who's Drew Brees' number 1 weapon?
I mean, you got Colston there still.
Not the same as Crabtree.
No.
Not the same.
Crabtree's got hands.
And
that,
then besides that, I mean, if you take away Crabtree, I got Anquan Bolden. Who do the Saints have? Kenny Stills compared to Anquan Bolden? After that, I can't tell you.
Kenny Stills can stretch a field. I mean, give him some credit.
But he's not Anquan Bolden.
Yeah, Anquan Bolden's
And then if we go to the third wide receiver on the Saints, I don't even know who they are, which is worse than Stevie Johnson.
Yeah, Stevie Johnson is an ex-Pro Bowler. Probably still got something in the tank. I really
just needed the right system. Wasn't working out in Buffalo.
I'd say the Magic just ran out with Fitzpatrick.
And I mean that right there is the sole reason why I think Graham should get. He'll always get paid higher than Davis because without him on the Saints, you got Coulson, and that's it.
They made it to a Super Bowl without Graham.
No, I know. And then I mean that's great, but Jimmy Graham is the number 1 guy in New Orleans. He's the Bayou number 1.
Yeah, absolutely is. So I think Vernon Davis maybe. I think it's just too early. Yeah. And again, if they do win a Super Bowl, he can probably make $7.5, $8 million at that point. Without Super Bowl, I think probably only looking at like 6 to 7.
I'm going to throw a kind of just question off the top of my head at you.
Yeah.
Little role play here.
Okay.
You're Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
You're coming into training camp.
Feeling fantastic.
You're
over
like,
here.
you know what, Vernon Davis, not going to, you start on the 23rd. Yeah. You're doing your flex muscle. Kiss that
You got
tattoo.
to. You got to.
What do you tell Vernon? They put a microphone in your face. They say, speak to Vernon. What are you saying?
Shut up and get on the field. It's that easy.
Mine's a little bit more vulgar than yours, but it's the same message. Get your ass on the field. Get over here. We got a Super Bowl to win.
Yeah, money's great and all,
You're
but
telling
we're
me
here to win a championship.
Richard Sherman's going to take a hike, and he's not coming to training camp. Do you think those Seahawks are not going to go to training camp? No, they're coming, and they're going to work, and they're going to try to beat us.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing. But we've got other teams in the league to focus on, basically all the other teams. And one that I want to talk about because it's kind of like we've mentioned it before. Is Coughlin going to be on the hot seat? Is it a Giants Super Bowl year? They start tomorrow. Training camp kicks off on Monday. What are you gauging from the Giants? Because I was watching NFL Live.
Yep.
They had a segment where they did bold predictions, and one of the analysts, I can't remember who on NFL Live, said, bold prediction, Giants win the East.
I don't buy it. I am not nearly as positive on this team as everybody else is. Or maybe only just that one wild card who said they were going to go for it. I just don't think they've got it. Their offense has been wildly inconsistent. Eli Manning, I mean, week after week just confuses the hell out of me. I think that they haven't really made any improvements across the board. I think they're a mediocre team. I think they're probably going to be a 7-9 team.
And the one thing I think about this whole division, I put a question mark by it because we're entering year 2 of the Chip Kelly offense. And if you were an avid listener of the podcast last offseason, I was like, my head was so far up Chip Kelly's ass.
Yes, it was.
That I could smell roses probably. And this year, coming into year 2, I'm not as high on Chip Kelly because it's proven, well, I think it's proven that you get a second look at a team and an offensive system, you find a way, maybe not to beat it, but to limit it and give your offense a chance to win you a game.
No, a second look definitely changes. It mostly makes a difference, I'll be honest, in baseball. I think baseball, that's one of the things where it's like a pitcher goes out there, first time out, nobody knows what to expect out of him. I think that's why Tanaka got off to that ridiculous start. And then, people
Well, he was still on a huge kick until he got, That ain't the elbow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it got a little bit worse. A little uptick in the
same
ERA.
could be said with football teams, especially with the system like the Chip Kelly system.
But I don't know. Nick Foles out there is Nick Foles. This, again,
true.
Some say he's equal to Peyton Manning.
Or Y.A. Tittle.
Yep. Can't forget Y.A.
I mean, you look at the other teams. Dallas, I think it was Stephen A. on First Take said that Dallas is an 8-8 team. I agree. I think that Dallas is not going to be as hot as a team. And then the team that I think is a bigger wild card than the Giants in the NFC East is the Redskins.
Yeah,
because
I'm all upset on the Redskins this
season.
season.
How is RG3 going to come back? That's the big question. You add Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah,
you have
huge.
Pierre Garçon. You have Alfred Morris. This year's the year if you want to take that division.
I want to see them open up that offense. I'm really hoping RG3 gets back to his more of his rookie campaign. He felt a little bit freer out there, definitely more mobile. I mean, they've got a fantastic running back. They just added on another ridiculous wide receiver to go along with Garçon. This team has offense off the charts. Now what they need to really look at is improving that defense. So
and one of the guys that I love that they picked up is NFL Live analyst Ryan Clark.
He says some things.
I love Ryan Clark.
Great personality.
He said that, and I mean, for us to talk about it, I don't know how serious he was, but
I think he was absolutely serious.
He said that the Redskins going to go 16-0 this season.
Yeah,
16-0.
Bold prediction.
Could you imagine if they actually did go 16-0 though?
You know what? I'm looking at their schedule.
I have it right. They have Houston, Jacksonville, Philly.
Yeah.
New York, Seattle, Arizona, Tennessee, Dallas, Minnesota. Then a bye.
Yeah, then they've already got
Tampa, San Fran,
losses.
Indy, St. Louis, and then the rest of the division: New York, Philly, Dallas.
They probably could win, 11 games this year. I think 11 is reasonable.
If RG3 is pre-injury,
or the All-American comes in,
Kirk Cousins, the All-American. Well, and really, the thing about the Redskins is, I'm going to say it's not exactly the same to Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
But it's similar to last year with Chip Kelly because we don't know how Jay Gruden's system is going to work with the Redskins. I mean, it's not as drastic as Chip Kelly's system was, but it's still a new offensive system. Like I said, you've had weapons like RG3. You add Deshaun Jackson. You have Pierre Garçon. You have Alfred Morris.
Yep. No, I'm excited to see this team play, which again leads me to believe that I don't think the Giants are going anywhere.
Well, and the only thing that I think with the Giants is Eli has these, and we talk about the Giants, we joke about the Giants, how, Coughlin goes on the hot seat. They get hot. They win the Super Bowl. And part of me wants to think maybe that can happen, but more looking at Eli Manning, Eli's a quarterback where he has a few down years, boom, great season, Super Bowl.
Yeah, lightning strikes for Eli. I mean, his odds go off the charts if they're facing off against New England in the Super Bowl.
Bold. Tom Brady. If Tom Brady's looking to play a Manning in the Super Bowl, he wants to see Peyton, but he can't see Peyton in the Super Bowl because he's in Denver.
Slightly impossible.
He wants to see, if he had to pick, it's like, okay, you're going in the Super Bowl, Tom. Who do you want to face, Eli or Peyton? He's like, I'll take my money on Peyton. I don't want to see this Eli guy.
Better track record, for sure.
But another team, we're going to keep it here right in Chicago. And the reason why I'm bringing them up, Bears start July 24th. We were hanging out with one of our close buddies, and he said yesterday that there have been kind of some inklings in the media, Bears Super Bowl 2015.
And this always seems like a very good pick. I mean, as a homer, just going out of my way here and saying, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, because I'm want excited. The Bears to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. But we've made, on paper, all the right moves to set us up for a Super Bowl run, or at least a very deep playoff run. It all comes down to Cutler staying healthy. That is my only concern.
Really? Just Cutler?
Yep, don't care.
Doesn't have anything to do with Chris Conte?
I mean, Conte, I'm sure, will be out there for a very short amount of time. I'm hoping that Adrian Wilson takes over in his safety role, and we get some help in that secondary. But I mean, I think a lot of it's fixed by all the attention we paid to that line. We just stack on pressure on that defensive line. That means the secondary has less work to do. I mean, our offense is fantastic. So barring injury, I think we are an absolute. I love it. I love our chances this year.
I'm going to bring this up because it's one of two articles I'm going to bring up from NFLmocks.com of the Fansided Network. They had two articles about the Bears that kind of caught my eye. One was just titled, How the Chicago Bears Can Finally Conquer Green Bay. And the why I'm bringing this up is if the Bears want to win the Super Bowl, you got to get through Green Bay. You got to get through Green Bay. And the points that they bring up, number one, ride Matt Forte.
Yeah, no, Matt Forte has been our workhorse. He's very underrated in the NFL, but he's a smooth runner who is all-purpose. He blocks, he catches out of the backfield. He can take it to the second level. Absolutely phenomenal weapon.
When he was on, I think it was either like Sports Nation, something on ESPN, and it was the interview where he had his Bulls jersey on.
Yeah.
He reminded me like Derrick Rose of the Chicago Bulls, where they were asking him, are you the top back in the league? And he's talking, and I just revert back, and I just kind of meld the two, and I kind of heard him say, why can't I be the MVP? Why can't I be the number one running back in the league?
Yeah, no, I mean, the opportunity is there. I don't think it will happen due to the Bears system.
I think Forte might have a breakout season this year. I'm not going to go super high on Forte, but he could have a, not MVP, but I think after this year, especially in fantasy, people are going to be like, maybe Matt Forte is the number one running back.
You're not worried about Carey stealing goal line catches? Goal line rushes?
Yeah, that's going to happen.
They brought in a big back who is physical. I think he's going to lose a little bit of those touchdowns.
I still think Matt Forte is going to do enough. Number two.
Okay.
Trust Mark Trestman to work with Jay Cutler.
You know what? He screwed up one time last year, memorably. But other than that, I've been pretty happy with Trestman's coaching decisions during games.
Well, and one of the things that I'm taking from this article that I think is the biggest thing with Jay Cutler in relation to the Green Bay Packers, 1-9 against the Pack since you joined the team in 2009. 1-9.
Yeah, well, I mean time-wise, it lines up.
You weren't Lovey. You didn't say, "Oh, we're going to beat the Packers," but I would say two of those meetings were not with Lovey, and you didn't beat the Packers.
Yeah, no, we don't have a track record with them. That was the one thing Lovey could bring us was wins against the Packers. So sad trade-off, but I would much rather have Trestman in charge.
Point number 3, and I think this is obvious: get to halftime with the lead.
No, well, honestly, I don't see that as a huge thing. I think coming out of the halftime adjustments, he's done a pretty good job. So I'm confident in Trestman coming out of there and being like, all right, this is what worked for us. This is what didn't. This is what we needed to attack in the second half of the game. I'm not too worried about the lead. If we have it, fantastic. If we're down, I'm not like, oh, it's over. We can't come back from this. Our offense is ridiculous. Our defense has improved.
Well, you bring up the defense.
Any situation is winnable.
You bring up the defense. The last point, again, another obvious point, attack Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, that offensive line for the Green Bay Packers has not done him any favors.
How do you kill a dragon? Cut off its head.
Yep. And I think we've added the correct weaponry. I think you're familiar with...
Don't they have Matt Flynn? Isn't he the backup again?
Yeah, so he could go off. He could throw for like 7 touchdowns.
But the Bears aren't
touchdowns.
the Lions. They're not the Lions.
It's true. But we do have Chris Conte.
Another thing, the second article that I have from NFLmocks.com about the Bears. Some possible surprise cuts during preseason/training camps. Here's the names that they list. Roberto Garza.
Yeah.
Eric Weems.
Yep.
DJ Williams. And Kelvin Hayden.
Honestly,
some possible surprise cuts for the Bears.
I like Weems. He's like a firecracker. His special teams efforts off the charts. He's like, a $140 soaking wet, but he's the first one down the field, and he'll lay hits on people.
$140 soaking
He'll
wet.
lay hits on people, and then he'll stand over them and talk. I absolutely love this guy. But his efforts as a wide receiver is non-existent. We've got other people, with the addition of Marquise Wilson. High hopes there.
What about Roberto Garza? Because that's the
He's
one
a staple.
name, and that's the one name that stuck out to me because it's like it's a staple. It would be like if Jeff Saturday was still on the Colts. The Colts saying, "Yeah, you're gone, Jeff. Bye-bye."
No, yeah. Well, I mean, he did. He went up to Green Bay, so it's a bit surprising. I think Garza's still got one more year in him. I don't really see anybody who can move in. I mean, maybe Britton, but I don't like screwing with that front five. I really don't. I think we had a pretty good season last year. Obviously, with the huge additions. I keep with it. It's successful. And, we even go 6 wide sometimes, which something that I kind of like because, you don't always need to go 3 wide and
I'm
tight
trying
end.
to think. I might get this name wrong, but isn't Marquise Wilson a big name that I know Mark brings up every week?
He's the wide receiver.
The Washington State wide receiver that you guys picked up.
Yeah, I did mention him earlier. He's definitely high hopes is our number 3. Work him in there. I love that core.
But I mean, looking at because the Bears, if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, you got to get through the division, right?
Yep. Which is why that defensive additions. I mean, come on, Jared Allen, Houston, Will Young. Oh, it's fantastic.
Well, and I mean, Green Bay, they open up camp on Friday the 25th. Lions have next Sunday, a week from today when we're recording. Vikings open up this Thursday. And the big thing, especially at Green Bay, and I don't know how big of a boost you're thinking. I think it's a minor boost.
Okay.
They add Julius Peppers to that defensive front.
He probably has a little bit left in him. Not a ton. I mean, last season he was very productive for us still, but it's a guy coming to the end of his career.
And it's like, this is the way I see it. Bears and Packers are going to battle for the top of the division.
Yep.
The Lions are the wild card of the division. I don't know whether to think you're going to be good with Caldwell or not good in Caldwell's first year. And the Vikings are kind of like, I expect you to be at the bottom, but if Teddy Bridgewater starts early and has success, I'm hoping they do well, but I'm not like expecting anything special.
No, I think they're definitely a step back from everybody still. As far as Detroit goes, I think Caldwell's the right guy for the job. I think it may take a year to weed down the...
well, you got to have that right mentality.
That's the thing. He's got to weed out some people.
Well, not just that. You're replacing a guy like Jimmy Schwartz, who wasn't the best head coach. I'm just going to go ahead and say.
He was a passionate man.
He was like, okay, we're going to have it's like saying, okay, I have a Pop Warner football team of 5th graders. Yeah, let's pull a 6th grader in to head coach them.
Yeah.
That's what Jimmy Schwartz was.
You know what? He wasn't sound of mind at all times. But, no.
Especially when he was playing Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, that handshake, whoo, you could feel that one. He wanted to throw a punch. But no, I think it'll take him a year. I don't want to quite go as far as he needs to find his Shiano men, but he needs to weed down the roster a little bit.
His Shiano men.
I know. Come on. Greg Shiano. That the whole thing in Tampa.
But do you think, let's just put this.
I think it's a 3-way race at the top.
Bears, I'm just going to put 2-way. Bears-Packers, who do you think wins the division at the end of the year? I know it's training camps, but I'm going to go bold right away.
I guess I'm going Bears.
I would expect that answer from you. Well,
I can't go Packers at this point.
If I win,
I think top to bottom on the roster, we're better than them.
If I win the bet that we made and Jay Cutler plays 16 games, then they should go to the playoffs because Jay actually played 16 games.
Exactly.
But I don't know. At this point, I feel like toss a coin.
Top to bottom, I think we've got the better team. They've got the better quarterback, offensive weapon-wise.
You have the better coach, I would say.
Yeah.
Coach to quarterback.
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
And that's the most important.
In-game coaching, I still don't think so. But,
no, I'm just saying that coach to quarterback, getting his guys ready for the game. A team I want to switch our attention to in the AFC, the Houston Texans.
Houston Texans.
They open up camp on the 25th. And one of the big questions, big topics that's going to be coming into camp is, what do you do with Andre Johnson? Because there have been, either whether it's on the Fansided Network, whether it's on ESPN, Yahoo, I've seen some reporters say, hey, maybe the Texans should trade Andre to the Patriots.
Yeah, because that would be real fair. Come on, people.
I saw that, and I was like, do we just want to give Tom Brady another Randy Moss?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm all for it. I would love to watch the Patriots.
Does Tom Brady go 16-0 with Andre Johnson?
No. But they'd be pretty good.
But I mean, we talked about Vernon Davis and it's a completely different situation. Vernon Davis is holding out for a contract on a Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
Andre Johnson is holding out because he wants to be traded because the Texans, and you can have your own opinion on this. I don't think it's quite as far as Andre probably thinks, but
yeah,
in his mind, he's probably thinking rebuilding mode, and I'm not a rebuilder.
No, absolutely. I mean, when you've got Ryan Fitzpatrick as your starting quarterback, and
new head coach,
you got Savage who's backing up Fitzpatrick, so you're like, you've got a couple big guys coming back off of injury. Jonathan Joseph, Brian Cushing, Arian Foster, and Clowney, who's still, you got several very key pieces of that team who are questionable.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're not going anywhere this year. I'm sorry. So he's like, all right, so I got to sit out this year, basically. And then maybe next year? Maybe?
Well, the only thing that, I mean, I agree with you. The Texans are not going anywhere because, number one, you look at that division, Jacksonville's going to finish last. Yeah, I said it. Blake Bortles is going to start the end of the season because they're going nowhere.
Yep.
The Titans, if I had to pick like this theme I'm going with, a wild card per division, they're my wild card team because I don't know how to gauge them coming into this season.
I'm with you on that.
The Texans, I feel like, are going to do better than last season, but they're going to finish second, not get a wild card, and the Colts are going to run away with this division.
No, I'm with you. Spot for spot, actually. Well,
maybe not run away.
Yeah,
I think they're going to run away. You're going to say maybe not so much. I just think Andrew Luck, the Colts, if they want to strike, this is the season. And after hearing, we were out to dinner with, like I said, our friend, his name's Mike Travato, and he brought up Bears winning the Super Bowl. My first thought was, could you imagine, not going to say that the Bears would lose, but another Bears-Colts Super Bowl?
Well, I try to forget the last one that happened as much as possible, so I could imagine it happening. And I think that'd be a great matchup, actually. The whole thing for the Colts is hoping that they get some production out of that mid-season acquisition last year. Trent Richardson was an absolute no-show for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but I mean...
No-show.
He didn't learn the playbook. He didn't put
That's
in
what
the
we're all
effort.
assuming. We don't know why he didn't participate.
I feel like this season's going to be a bounce-back year for Trent Richardson. I might go out on a limb and say, if I had to make a bold prediction for the 2014 season, Trent Richardson, comeback player of the year.
See, I don't know about that. I think there's some other candidates out there. I just don't think that I think they overpaid.
Bold predictions are supposed to be bold, right?
I know, and I'm going to call you on it. I think they overpaid for him. I think he's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher. That's his limit.
1,000-yard rusher. But I mean,
okay,
when you have Andrew Luck, you don't need to rely on your running back as much. You just need to rely on him enough to take, okay, we've been passing. We need to take some pressure off on Luck. Here, we'll give you the ball. Give it back to Luck, back to you, back to Luck. It's not we're going to pound you.
No, they're not in a situation like
you get the ball,
the Vikings are, where you're entirely relying on him.
I mean, and I'm praying that Teddy Bridgewater pans out because we need something, but they have a quarterback. They have wide receivers. They have your boy T.Y. Hilton.
Your boy.
T.Y. They have Luck's guy and Colby Fleener.
No.
The Stanford connection.
They play every game very close. I just don't. I have them winning it, okay? I've got them winning their division.
How far do you got them going in the playoffs right now? I know it's early, but how far do you think they'll go in the playoffs? What are you thinking?
Probably only first round.
Only the first round?
I got them going one round. I'll be honest. I don't got massive hopes. I think the division's going to unroll a lot like it did last year. The only swap is Houston-Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville will be worse than Houston. Tennessee will still be in that mid-range, still trying to figure out, their exact course as far as building up that core.
I got a two-part question for you.
All right.
Back to the Texans. Part one. Does Andre Johnson play week one?
I think he does. I think he dresses.
Does he play a preseason game?
No. I don't think he'll play preseason at all.
Part two. Do the Do you see the Texans either trading him before preseason or before the regular season? Either or. Or trading him at all?
I want them to trade him. I think it would be beneficial to both parties, so they can just get over it. Obviously, it hurts their offense massively. I mean, this is their number one guy.
Would they go straight into rebuilding mode?
They might as well. I think they just need to cut ties and be like, all right, guys, let's just take care of this problem. Because you don't want a guy around who has that kind of morale, who's like, I don't want to. I'm not all in on this team. I'm not going to give it my all because you know what, we're not going to win it this year. I don't want that bad morale around the locker room. And Andre Johnson, he's one of the best personalities. He's a great guy. I'm not saying he would do this, but there's always that possibility of, we're going to start finding you for every time you're not here. And then when you do come in, you're going to have a bad attitude. I don't want that. No.
Do you think that, and everything that I've seen is all speculation, do you see the Patriots actually saying, hey, maybe we should trade for this guy? Get Tom Brady a number one wide receiver.
I mean, it's worked out pretty well last time they got him an actual number one wide receiver.
Along with Gronkowski coming back from injury.
Yeah, and the addition of Revis on the defense, it lines up the Patriots for a very nice season.
But we'll stay in the AFC. Denver Broncos. We'll go to the AFC West. Denver Broncos, they open up camp on the 23rd. And a question that I'm going to take straight from NFLmocks.com, and it's weird to see this question about a loser in the Super Bowl. Yep. Usually you hear this question about the winner. Can the Denver Broncos beat the Super Bowl hangover?
I think they can. I think that they have every tool possible.
Am I right, though?
Right
Usually
back.
You hear that question about, the winner. Can the Seahawks do it, not the loser?
Seahawks, yeah. I mean, they're still going to be 1 or 2 in their division.
Well, they've got the mentality with Pete Carroll just drilling those young guys with the mentality of
Booyah,
one
Pete
game
Carroll.
at a time. Yeah.
Again, I'm a big proponent of Pete Carroll.
Well, that's why you liked USC.
He gets done. Whether it's legal, sometimes questionable, but he got done. Yeah. No, that team has the right attitude. It's not like they won because of some fluke or something. They outplayed everybody. I mean, that defense off the charts, that offense, they're really starting to put something together. They're just Percy Harvin, if he's healthy, fantastic. You see what they could do to teams, which is embarrassing.
But I think with the Broncos, and the one thing why I think this question is valid for the loser is, does a loss like they suffered...
Truly embarrassing.
Does that, put them into a little bit of a shockwave, and it kind of rattles them coming into the season? Because you said you saw something where the offense was forced to watch that game again.
They were forced to sit down and break down the entire game tape of that game, of this Super Bowl.
I hope Peyton Manning had a remote, and when the ball went over his head, okay, we're going to rewind that.
Seriously.
What went wrong on that? Can you tell me? Because we're going to rewind it.
Back and forth. Back and forth. I mean, it's got to hurt a whole lot.
I want to be a fly on the wall in that room.
It's got to hurt a whole lot. But I guarantee you Peyton Manning now has a whole new list of audibles. Look, this is what we need to do to take care of it. If anybody's if anybody can go off game tape and fix their problems, it's Peyton Manning. He is a student. He puts in so much time watching game tape.
Does Peyton Manning pick a new city? Does he pick a new city for his audible? Instead of Omaha?
He might. I mean, what would that do to the people of Omaha, though?
What obscure, town can he pick for an audible? Because Omaha, unless you live in Nebraska or like college baseball, you're probably, doing a double take, okay, I got to Google, where's Omaha?
And why did he pick Omaha in the first place? Is there something about it that we don't know?
I have no idea. I'm not a
Is that where the Manning family holds all their trophies? In a vault in Omaha? I don't know.
In a vault underground.
Yes.
You got to take a mine cart down underground, and then you got a little safe that they open.
And of course, it's Eli's got two trophies.
Eli's Super Bowls, and then you got Peyton's MVPs and everything.
Yeah.
And it's one Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, a tad bit embarrassing.
But I mean, looking at that division in the AFC West, I mean,
so excited.
It's kind of like the same thing as the South, except Broncos and Chiefs are going to be 1-2. The Chargers, to me, are that wild card in the division because they did add a guy like Brandon Flowers on the defense. And to me, the Raiders, you drafted a lot of young talent.
We're going to have to wait a while to see that.
You're not going to do well. Dennis Allen is not going to get fired, but I feel like later in the season, Schaub gets benched for Derek Carr.
That's totally
I'm talking
reasonable.
like 15, 16, 17 like weeks. where he
That's
plays.
entirely reasonable. I've got it. I know I've been talking Chiefs up a long time, but I think the Chargers are going to take it from them this year as far as that number 2 slot in the division.
Do the Chargers get the wild card slot? The 6th slot? Do they sneak right back in?
I think they do because the Chargers play up really well against their schedule matchup-wise. So I'm thinking the Chargers are going to be not right behind. Broncos probably going to get like 12 wins or whatever. They're ridiculous. Again, they've only added more talent. Their losses have been acceptable. Losing a big wide receiver doesn't matter because you're Peyton Manning. You can make anyone a big wide receiver just by putting them out there. So, yeah, you go Broncos. Then you got the Chargers. I think Phillip Rivers, he's always in that is he not category as far as ranking top of the league. But, he's going to be right there.
Well, to go off of the Chiefs, because last year, undoubtedly, the Chiefs were the big turnaround team for 2013. As we head into training camps this week, Dave, I'm going to throw this question at you not kind of off the top of my head, but I'm seeing it here on NFLMocks.com, and I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Who will be the big turnaround team in 2014?
Are we just going AFC, NFC? What are we
Anybody. Like, last season, the Chiefs were obviously that team where they go from 2-14 to 11-5, and I'm just going to I'm not trying to sway your opinion here, but the two teams that the author Eric Lambert mentions in his answer is, will it be the Houston Texans? Will it be the Buffalo Bills? Who do you think? Biggest turnaround team this upcoming season?
I think Redskins or Browns. I mean, I'm in a total toss-up. One AFC, one NFC.
Does Johnny Manziel start week 1?
Does Johnny Manziel break the NFL?
Sorry, I don't work for ESPN. That's a legit question.
But no, I think both these teams have the capability of having a turnaround season and coming close to a playoffs. Very close. As far as the Browns are concerned, their division is quite good. The Ravens have been performing pretty well lately. Bengals are great until they hit the playoffs. And Steelers, they got some kinks to work out, but they're a tough out every single time. So I'm really excited to see.
So who
I think they're
going
going to be all packed up in the middle.
Give me one team.
Redskins. Screw it. I'll go Redskins. I'll go RG3. Taking the stanky leg.
I almost said I was almost going to say Redskins, but I'm going to hit you with a curveball.
They can't be worse than last year. Seriously.
You ready? You ready for this curveball?
What
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Really? In Lovey, you trust?
No, in McCown, I trust.
Oh.
You paid him starter money.
Okay.
Am I wrong? You paid him
I'm
starter money to come in, and I think he's going to come in, and last year was a huge confidence boost for him.
No kidding.
And I think working with Trestman just the season that he did.
He got keys to a Corvette, man.
Yeah.
Like he's driving around in a Yugo, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come over and try this?" Just dangle him in front of his face for a little bit. Yeah, he was all in on that.
And I feel like he's going to take that knowledge, bring it over to Tampa Bay. And am I saying that? Oh well, because McCown's going to start, does that mean Glennon's out of town? Not at all. McCown, I think, is going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm the starter, but I'm going to work with you because my time is short.
He shared his knowledge with Cutler, and it seemed to really help out Jay a lot. So I could see him as kind of a mentor role for a year, helping out Glennon, kind of giving him some tips and tricks of the trade.
And I mean,
but this is a Tampa Bay offense led by Lovie Smith. I mean, you know what Lovie Smith offenses do. The answer is nothing.
But I mean,
we're going to dink and dunk our way for 25 yards and punt the ball. That was our playbook.
If it wins, it wins.
No, because we don't. Unless his defense can come around and score 3 touchdowns a game, I don't think they're going very far. They've got a great running back. They've got McCown, who's capable at quarterback. But I don't know.
I'll be honest. I wanted to, because the first team that came into my mind, and I was going to say them, but I'm like, no, that's the easy way. I'm going to say Tampa Bay. Atlanta.
The Hot Atlanta Falcons.
That's a too easy of an answer, though.
Let's say they get back 2 wide receivers who, as a tandem, are probably number 2 or 3 in the league. That's massive. This team, scary. That division is fantastic for them. With the Panthers having Cam Newton still not 100%.
Well, and this entire division to me is, out of the NFC divisions, you have the North. I'm kind of seeing it as a two-way race between
it's a clump at the top, though.
Green Bay and Chicago in the end.
Yep.
In the East, I mean, Yeah, the East is a crapshoot, I would say, but I'm going to say that
Yes, it is.
I'm going to say Philly pulls out.
It's
in
the
the
battle
end.
for 9 and 7.
Yeah, and then you have the NFC West, who I am going to go out and say it. First off, every team in the NFC West this season is going to be 500 or above,
Oh.
and they could possibly have 3 playoff teams.
See, that's what I'd like to hear, but you don't like one of the playoff teams. I think you're going to say the Rams are going to be a
No,
playoff. Oh, really?
my 3 playoff teams would be Seattle. They take the top slot. They're going to be the best team in the league.
Okay.
San Fran's going to be the first wild card. Arizona with the sixth spot.
Oh, that's...
The Rams will be 8-8. I'll say
Okay.
one more win.
I was going to say, they're like...
because of Michael Sam.
They're... Really?
Yeah, one more win because of Michael Sam.
I'm just not going to touch that.
But
This is probably the best division.
it's going to be the best division in football.
I mean...
Every time there's an NFC West game, we're going to watch, and
I
we're
was
going
going
to
to
be
say,
entertained.
they deserve prime time across the board for in-house matchups.
But, I mean, the NFC South to me is... I don't know how to gauge it because, first off, ever since the NFC South became the NFC South, we've never had a repeat champion. So, okay, take Carolina. They're off the board. New Orleans, they're coming back. Are they going to have a resurgence? Tampa Bay, they had guys like the veteran Josh McCown.
But they lose a wide receiver, but they pick up a wide receiver.
Well,
so
they lose
kinda
a wide
even
receiver,
there.
but they pick up Mike Evans, who I loved coming
Yep.
out of Texas A&M. They pick up Austin Seraphin-Jenkins, a good tight end out of Washington.
Yep.
You also get the muscle hamster back
Exactly.
with Doug Martin, and you also have Bobby Rainey still on the team, who he did well. I mean, he was a fantasy hype for 2 weeks and then kind of tailed off.
Yeah.
But he's still on the team. He has potential. And then you have the Atlanta Falcons, who
Falcons.
Matt Ryan's getting back his top 2 weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, if Steve Jackson can just be slightly better than he was last year,
Which I don't have any... I don't think he is. I think he's done. I think he needs to just
I'm just
hang
saying
up
he
the
needs
cleats.
to be slightly better. Like, here's Trent Richardson, and then, like, just above Trent Richardson, just that, and you can be fine.
No.
The biggest thing with the Falcons for me is their defense.
Really?
Is their defense
That's your major concern.
Is their defense going to be able to hold up against the Saints, against the Panthers twice a year? Hell, I'm even going to say it, against the Buccaneers twice a year.
Bold move, sir. No, I don't... Their defense definitely needs some work, but they're going up against top-tier offenses a couple times a year.
Like I said, obviously you got to play.
I think it's the lack of running back. It turns their offense one-dimensional, and it's easy to take advantage of that.
Here are the hot offenses that they're playing this year. Obviously, they got to play each divisional opponent twice, but you have to play the Giants. I'm throwing it out there because they could be a wild card. If Eli Manning,
So they're fantastic or terrible. Yeah,
like if Eli Manning strikes thunder this year or lightning strikes,
Yep.
that's going to be a tough offense. Baltimore, I don't know how to gauge this team because you win the Super Bowl, you went off season last year. Should I think you're a favorite this year? Should I not think
No,
you're a favorite?
I don't think so.
And Joe Flacco can be Joe Flacco.
They can take the ball deep, though. That's for sure.
With Detroit, Stafford and Megatron could have a huge game.
Yeah,
I mean, it
every
just
week.
depends how they want to come in and play.
Stafford, Megatron, you've got Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I mean,
With the Red Rocket.
you're playing. For me, week 13 to the end
Yep.
is so tough for the Falcons on their defense because first you're going up against Arizona, who I think is going to be better this year.
Carson
You're
Palmer
going
really
up
got
against
better as the season progressed last year.
Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, week
Yep.
14. Then you have to play Pittsburgh, who, yet again, Big Ben is in that category with Eli, where he could be good this year. He could be better than he was last year. That Steelers team could be better than it was last year. Hell, the entire AFC East can be better than it was last year. Because the Steelers had a down year, the Ravens had a down year, Bengals get into the playoffs. And then after that, 16-17, you got Saints on the road, Panthers at home.
By that point in the season, the Panthers may have a number 1 wide receiver. I don't want to put anything. I don't want to put anything in.
What if Kelvin Benjamin becomes their number 1 wide receiver at that point? It blossoms into that number 1 wide receiver.
We've seen stranger things happen. I guess, but I don't know. I still think this team is really looking around for an answer there.
2 divisions left that we haven't touched. I'm going to let you pick. Pick a number, 1 or 2.
Let's go 2.
AFC North.
AFC North. Okay.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cleveland. And the biggest question for this division is obviously going to be Johnny Football. When does he play? When does he make his debut, Dave?
Very soon, I hope. I think everybody's hoping for soon.
Week 1?
He'll probably see it by like week 3 or 4.
You think so?
Yeah, I want to see him earlier.
I mean, the way I see it is, I think you got to start him, and I'm in that. Could be the majority, could be the minority. I don't know what it is at this point. You got to start him week 1 because I know what you're saying. Brian Hoyer's our quarterback.
He had a really strong performance before injury.
But I kind of find it hard. You're going to draft Johnny Football, who signed a endorsement with Snickers this week.
But they didn't draft him at the number. They didn't draft him in the top 5 where everybody's like, oh, he's guaranteed. Johnny's guaranteed to go.
Steal the draft.
Is he?
If he comes out and is Johnny Football.
Or is he the Tim Tebow of the draft? I'll say it.
That's possible.
I'll say it. Was it a reach?
Who knows? Very, I hope he's not the Tim Tebow of this kind of generation because, I mean, I feel like you go out and you get a name like Johnny Football, you have to start him week 1 because that first game at Pittsburgh, well, not Pittsburgh because they're on the road. That first home game, September 14th, week 2 against New Orleans. If Hoyer is starting that game, first interception that he throws, all the fans in Cleveland, Johnny Football.
But come on.
Johnny Football.
That bye week placement lines up week 4 bye week. Is that not just a gigantic sign saying, time for Manziel right here? Just circle that on the calendar. If he doesn't get it going into the regular season, I think that's just, it's right there.
I'm putting you in the head of Mike Pettin.
Okay.
You're Mike Pettin, head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Coming into your bye week, week 4, you are 1-2. Do you start Manziel week 4 at Tennessee?
I think you do because the stretch after there, you can build some confidence. So I think that
build some confidence is saying it lightly. You have Tennessee on the road. Yeah, Pittsburgh. I want to say Pittsburgh would be the tougher of these teams.
They will be.
That's a home game. Then you're on the road at Jacksonville.
Yup.
At home against Oakland.
Yup.
And then week 9, Tampa Bay. But if Tampa Bay is coming out like I said,
Tampa Bay, but what I think
my
of Tampa
bold
Bay.
prediction, yeah.
So I think that is right in his group. That's
that's the money shot right
that's
there.
Like throwing one to Jeter for the All-Star game.
That's grooving it right down the middle. Adam Wainwright style.
It's
just
like
right
how to make a quarterback
middle.
look good is that right there. So that's what I'm thinking. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong.
You know what else would be, and it would be even better if this game was in Houston, but it's not. It's going to be in Cleveland. What if he makes his debut week 11 against Houston, against the Texans?
I don't want to make his
Texas connection.
There.
No, his debut. It'd be a home game though. It wouldn't be a road game.
Yeah. No, I mean it's
the Texas connection there.
No, but it's just his chance to say, I want him to go through and say, screw you to the Jags, screw you to the Raiders, and screw you to the Texans.
Those
the
are
Bucs.
3 games. The Bucs
and
passed
the Bucs passed
on him.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a lot of teams that passed on
Well,
him.
yeah, obviously he fell pretty far. But teams that were like, we need a quarterback.
Thank God he doesn't get to stick it to the Vikings because they don't play each other unless
Not
they get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Could you imagine a Vikings-Browns Super Bowl? Not saying it's going to happen. I don't want anyone
put your dollar down.
Put the revolver down, everybody. I'm not making that bold of a prediction.
I was going to say, Ricky, how much have you smoked this morning?
Could you imagine a Vikings-Browns Super Bowl, though?
No.
Teddy Bridgewater versus Peyton Manning, not Peyton Manning, Johnny Manziel. Wow, I'm making a really big comparison there.
Yes, you are.
Bridgewater and Manziel, rookies in the Super Bowl.
Never going to happen.
Oh, it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying, what if?
No, I'm not even going to say what if. Just no.
But for the teams in the AFC North, Cincinnati open up their camp on the 23rd. Browns are the 25th. And then you have Baltimore also on the 23rd. Pittsburgh is on the 25th. Last division that we haven't hit.
Honestly, don't give a rip about Cincy till the playoffs happen.
Well,
that's a terrible way to say it.
How are they going to go with new offensive coordinator?
I think they're going to throw to more than one wide receiver this year.
Hugh Jackson has said that the best quarterback-wide receiver tandem is Andy Dalton, A.J. Green.
Yep. So that'll put them to the test.
Last division we have not touched. The AFC East.
Yeah.
New England, Miami, New York, Buffalo.
Exciting.
The one team that I kind of cannot wait to see is the Jets.
Really?
Because one of the things, and I read this because It's a headline on NFL Spin Zone, where if you're listening to our podcast on NFL Spin Zone, go check out the article. Joe Soriano, headline reads, Rex Ryan says he's a great coach, credits players.
Ooh, I don't agree with those comments, but no. I mean, there's no reason.
This is a hot seat year for Rex Ryan, you could say.
Every year is a hot seat year, or hot foot year for Rex Ryan.
It's a hot seat year. The seat is really hot if you're a coach in New York.
Okay. I agree with you. They need to get some win column check marks, but
I mean, especially when you bring in Michael Vick to be your starter.
Or
I'm
not
just gonna
starter.
say it. I'm just going to say it. He's going to be the starter.
Or not starter. I mean, they really dug themselves in hole. They don't know how to draft offensive weapons.
They don't know how to draft offensive weapons.
I'll just leave that. They went out.
They drafted Taj Boyd, another quarterback. Yeah, you got Geno Smith last year. You need another quarterback.
Who has almost the same issues as Taj Boyd. I'm not going to say the same, but they have similar glaring weaknesses.
I mean, I will say I do like their draft pick of second round, 17th pick, Jason Morrow out of Texas Tech, the tight end. But besides that, I'm not too high on any of their offensive picks. The only other pick that I like was their first round pick of Pryor.
Yeah.
Out of Louisville.
Yeah, and that's a no question mark for Rex Ryan here. Defense, gold mine. They should literally just lock the door and be like, all right, we're going to go offensive this round. Rex is in the closet. Who do you guys like?
Rex left the room. We let him go to the bathroom.
Speak freely, because when he gets back, we're going to go back to defense again.
But I kind of feel like this division is it's the Patriots to lose, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the Bills, I don't see them. I mean, people are going to be high on the Bills this year. I don't see them doing anything. I don't see the Jets doing anything. If you had to say, Ricky, pick a team that's going to contest with the Patriots, maybe the Dolphins?
The Miami Tannehills.
The Miami Tannehills. Maybe. But I mean, even then, it's like weakest division in football.
I think it's Patriots to lose by a long shot. I think they're going to be way out of reach for everybody else. I think the Bills are going to be number 2.
Am I right?
I'm a little higher on the Bills.
Am I right to say it's the weakest division in football this year?
You know what?
It is the NFC West, the new NFC West of football.
Yeah, it's not going to be close. You may be right on that one.
If the only other division that I can see competing for that is maybe the AFC North or the NFC East. Both East divisions are not like...
Well, they're clumped in the middle. That's the problem. It's nothing out of them stands out over the others.
But at least you got RG3 in the NFC West.
Which is why I'm excited.
I mean, you got RG3,
East.
you got... the
East.
East. NFC East. You got RG3, Eli, Romo, Nick Foles. You got stuff.
You got storylines. You got high-action offenses. That's
the AFC
exciting.
West, you have 3 teams and then Tom Brady. I almost said Peyton Manning. I don't know why.
Don't say that slander about the Patriots. You can't say his name.
And then you have Tom Brady, which he just gets shit done.
Yep.
That's Tom's way.
Tom and Bill, the masterminds over there. But yeah, I don't know. The rest of that division's just whatever. They could all finish.
Oh, and if they get Andre Johnson, goodbye. It's their division by a long shot.
Yeah, it's their deep playoff run into the Super Bowl. So, no, I really am kind of whatever about this division. I am one of those people riding the Buffalo Bills hype train, though. I got them as a number 2 in that spot. They're not going to get the wild card.
No, so they don't make the 6th spot?
Absolutely not.
It is a little story about the Bills, just to bring them up because you mentioned them.
Yep.
Bon Jovi, his group, submitted the paperwork to buy the Bills.
Good for them.
So we could have John Bon Jovi, the new owner of the Buffalo Bills, maybe.
Good for them.
And last but not least, we talked about all the teams coming into training camp this week, but more importantly, we're going to end the podcast on a lighter note, mostly because I want to talk about the great city of Chicago. Dave, 2015 NFL Draft. Goodell came out and said, L.A., Chicago, that's the 2 teams. That's what it's down to.
You mean cities?
Cities.
I know we keep talking teams, but yes, I'm excited. If it's here, we're going, period. We'll bring you guys live coverage from it.
We're going, period.
And we'll bring you guys coverage.
And I mean, okay, this is what I'm thinking. I don't know the entire plan for LA because, to be honest, I'm from Chicago. LA. I don't care about LA.
It's coming here.
And from what I've heard about the plans for Chicago, if it was here, they're thinking about having it in the Chicago Theater, beautiful venue. To me, I feel like it's okay. Chicago has Chicago Theater. In LA, it would obviously be, I'm going to say, not the Staples Center. It'd be in the Nokia Theater, where
Probably.
they had the ESPY Awards this past week.
Probably serviceable place for it. I mean,
It's a big place,
sexy
too.
wise, it may be sexier to be in
LA. Like,
You got
LA,
New York, and then you got LA. But I think we need to make a road trip or a little short stop in Chicago first. Give LA the year after.
I feel like Chicago.
We get no love.
I feel like Chicago's going to get screwed with this because not only does LA want a team, the West Coast is, like you said, it's so sexy. And you think of, like, are they moving the draft back? They're not going to have it like they did this year.
Yeah, they're thinking about returning it back to its proper timing.
It's going to be warm weather in LA compared to Chicago. Like, Chicago's not going to be like February.
Well, come on, it's cold in New York too.
Yeah, I mean,
But again, we're competing against LA right now.
Yeah, we're competing against LA. We're competing against that hot weather.
So it's going to be nice. It's going to be...
This is the two things you got to deal about. LA, they want a team. Chicago, we want a Super Bowl bid.
Yep.
That's what it is. And that's what it's going to be. If they put it in LA, it's going to be, okay, how much can we draw? Do we give them a team? And with Chicago, okay, it's in Chicago. How does that draw? How would a Super Bowl in Chicago go?
Exactly. I like Chicago, but I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to get passed up on this one.
And the reason why I would hate for it to go to LA and for everyone to say, oh, it's because they want to put a team in LA. I've heard more talk from Goodell that he wants a team in London. If I'm the people of LA,
they put the timer
I am
on London
slighted.
now.
I am slighted because
they're saying 5 to 10 years for London. He put it back.
If I was LA, though, like the people of LA, I would say, really, you want to put a team over there? And hello, we're right here.
You guys could have had the Raiders again.
Could have. I mean, you have the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings. Come on, LA needs a football team. But I want the draft to be in Chicago. Hometown boy.
Yeah, we want it here so we can go.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
If it goes to LA, we should make the plane trip out there.
We'll see if we can get some support from the nation.
Cash.
We'll see if we can get the support of the nation.
If it's in LA, we start a Kickstarter to go to the draft.
Yep, we're counting on you guys.
We count on you guys to send us to the draft, give you the inside information. But if it's in Chicago, we're going.
Yeah, we're just going.
I mean, it's plain and simple. And I mean, the thing about it is we talked about venues, just overall cities, though. Maybe it's because I'm a hometown guy. Chicago's a pretty good city, Dave.
It's nice. I mean, you got the lakefront views, you got the giant skyscrapers. There's lots to do in downtown Chicago.
And the way that they even described it is if it's at the Chicago Theater, bam, that's right in the middle.
Yep.
That's right in the loop.
Yeah.
And then you got the transportation, you can go anywhere.
Exactly. Meanwhile, LA, you got
Navy
the terrible
Pier.
Traffic jams. It's kind of seedy in some areas.
You've got the, do they still have the pollution?
Oh, yeah.
The air pollution in LA?
That's a thing.
I mean, yeah, you can see some Hollywood stars, but it's not as good as Chicago.
Come on. You know you want to come to Chicago.
I mean, come on, we got Vince Vaughn, right?
Exactly.
Vince Vaughn, Chicago boy, Jeremy Piven.
Super fans. Super fans.
Da
They're going to reunite if it comes to Chicago.
Does Michael Jordan come back to the super fans?
I think
he was
would.
on that SNL.
I think he would.
But that's going to do it here for the Onside Kick this week. Tell us down below what you think about what teams did we not talk about enough? What teams did we talk about too much?
Who are you
what
looking for in training camp?
Yeah, who's going to be
position battles?
I can't. We got to go to Bears because that's the closest one to us. We got to go down for a day because, like I said, they're the closest one to us. Also, I want to ask you guys, where do you want the draft to be? L.A., Chicago. Let us know what we should talk about maybe on future podcasts down below in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, all that good stuff. And as always, have a good day, everybody.